Welcome back to the Masters Tour here in Bucharest, where we are just going to finish up round 6 with a little bit of Orange versus che0nsu. Very exciting game. Both of us, I think it's fair to say, big Orange fans. Disappointed to see him relegated from Grandmasters, but hoping that we see a little bit of a comeback from him here.
Yeah, it's been an exciting couple of days here all around the tavern here in Masters Tour Bucharest, and Orange has really been, for me, the storyline that I'm looking at. A now former Grandmaster and one of my absolute favourite players, one of my best friends that I have in Hearthstone here. Really hope that he's able to continue his strong run at 5-0, because for a player to be relegated out of Grandmasters and then qualify back for the very next season would really be one of the best storylines we've had in Hearthstone. But on the other side, overcasting APAC Grandmasters for the last few months, I've become a big fan of che0nsu. He's a player that I think I overlooked, it's fair to say, at the start, given the caliber of players that we have in APAC. Surrender, Tyler, Tom60229. He wasn't one of the real standout names for me. But if you look back over his pedigree, his top 4 that he had at Worlds, as well as just finishing first in his division in APAC this season, almost qualifying through to BlizzCon again, he's a real contender for one of the best players in Asia Pacific.
We've got some somewhat similar but also somewhat different lineups coming up here. We've got both different types of priest seeing play. The typical Divine Spirit Inner Fire from Orange, the N'Zoth priest from che0nsu. As you can see, we've also got the Highlander Secret Paladin on both sides, although we can see
a lot
of Kun here. Highlander Secret Paladin on both sides. Orange also bringing Rogue, and che0nsu bringing the Quest Shaman, not the more aggressive build that we've been seeing so far this week. So yeah, it's an interesting set of lineups here.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see Orange go with the Quest variant, because I feel like you have to be it has to be almost a pet deck for you at this point to bring it over the Token Shaman, given how explosively powerful we know it is. And we are seeing exactly that from Bunny Hopper. He is a player who absolutely loves Quest Shaman, and therefore pretty predictably brought it. And for che0nsu and Orange here to both be going for the Quest Shaman, I'd be interested to know their thought process, because personally I feel like Token Shaman's just a better deck.
Well, here we go, jumping straight into it. And gotta say, Orange, Light Warden, turn 1, seems good. But on the other side of things, che0nsu does have the Evil Cable route, so he can start to get that quest going, especially with the Wasp in hand as well.
Yeah, he just needs basically any way to fight back on board. The way you win this game, it almost feels like not even completing the quest. You almost ignore that it's there. I've actually wondered at points if you ever throw it away versus Priest, because I'm pretty sure that's just wrong. But I've thought about it, just because you want Mogu, and you want the Desert Hares, you want Evolves, anything that can clear off the board as quick as possible, because otherwise you have the predictably miserable matchup that we are likely to see here, with Orange just having an absolutely insane starting hand. He's got the high health minion, he can follow up with Amit, or even more likely, he can just follow up with Power Wedge Shield, Divine Spirit on a 2/6 and say, this never ever dies.
che0nsu, I guess, hoping to find the Kobold Lackey there to deal with that Light Warden. Doesn't happen though, and it's going to start to deal a lot of damage very quickly.
Doesn't want to go with the Witchy Lackey on the 1/1, which I thought made a lot of sense to me. The Faceless Lackey is always good. It's just a generic play and gets a lot better if you find yourself a Mogu to make it cheaper. Yeah. But the main immediate thinking was just Witchy Lackey upgrades to a 3/3, and then next turn, Faceless Lackey Wasp.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess he's assuming it doesn't get traded into right now.
That's a fair assumption.
The Light Warden's definitely going face.
Like if Orange has Wild Pyro plus a spell here, the game probably just ends anyway.
This is a very powerful start from Orange here, though. He's now got Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, and Armet all in his hand, ready to go. Even going to consider the Divine Spirit now with the coin and the Inner Fire on the 2/6.
Yeah. Like the Power Shield coming down on the Light Warden, I can understand again to play around the Wasp. Exactly, it would have to be specifically Kobold Lackey, which he can make the read isn't there, plus Wasp. But this is precisely what you do against Quest Shaman. You don't make more than 3 minions so that they can't go for the MCT against you. And you make 1 giant minion because they have no hard removal.
Listen, better be a good evolve, I'm telling you, Derek, because...
Yeesh.
Let's move on.
Yep.
I was just skimming the deck list, like, is there a Plague of Merle? No. Okay, this game is over. Wow. Good start for Orange, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Very nice start. And it's the reason why I think not the reason necessarily, but definitely a big factor as to why I prefer the token shaman, the overload shaman that we have at the moment, because they have cards in the early game like Lightning Bolt, Licking that can do so well against these early plays from the priest, and they also have the same good stuff that the quest shaman has in, of course, Hair, Evolve, Mutate, Mogu, all that nonsense that you're looking for, but just with a little bit of extra added board control that could maybe have won the game there for che0nsu, even though if they make a 12-12, you lose. With both decks, neither deck can beat that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what anyone can do about that. It wasn't just the 12-12, there was the Light Warden backing it up. Yeah, there really was not much for Shaman to do. Let's move on. Priest is done. Orange now has his Rogue and the Highlander Secret Paladin available to him. We've seen a little bit of the Highlander Secret Paladin. Is that a deck that surprised you coming into this tournament, Derek?
Oh, most definitely. Out of all the fourth decks I was looking at, it was really Druid I was considering, but it was like, there's a lot of Priest, a lot of Shaman. It feels a little bit weak in the early game to be going for that. I was considering Warrior, Control Warrior, which a lot of players did end up going for with the N'Zoth variant. And I was also considering Aggro Highlander Warrior and Highlander Hunter. I did not consider Highlander Paladin, but it's really just crept up in the last week or so, with a lot of players realizing, now with the Mysterious Challenger thrown in as well, there's just enough mid-game powerhouse plays that you can just go for it.
On the other side of things, we see the N'Zoth Priest from che0nsu, another deck that's been pretty powerful in this event. I don't know if you've seen, I believe Wicked Good put some of the win rates up yesterday on Twitter. And these more control-y Priest decks, along with Highlander Warrior, are the top 2 win rate decks of the event.
I think it's a strong deck. I think it's a very strong deck. The only reason I would not bring it is because that means, obviously, by definition, you have to not bring Combo Priest, because you have a different version of Priest in there. But I still think, as you said, it's a very powerful deck. I do just wonder, though, if it's because a lot of players on ladder don't know how to play against it effectively, whereas you are absolutely not going to have that luxury against the field here in Masters Tour Bucharest.
No, but I mean, at this event, it's been one of the top performing decks.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe it's just been some players not understanding, or maybe it's just very strong. Yeah. It could be anything.
I mean, there's certainly a curve where you get to a certain point with the deck where no aggression is going to get through what you've got, right? You just cannot get past the wall of N'Zoths with the defenders, and then the Seance to get more N'Zoths, etc., etc.
che0nsu doing everything he can to fight off this early aggression, but it's this annoying shaped board where he has to go for, you know, Forbidden Words on a 1-2. Does he go for the just dealing 3 damage to another 1-2 here in the Pharaoh Cat? It's all a little bit off of really being the right size.
Penance is a nice draw, but yeah, not all that much to do with it. And as he hasn't played any minions yet, that Psychopomp isn't going to be much good. However, next turn, Kartut Defender can come out, and then the following turn, he can Psychopomp back the Kartut Defender, and then, yeah, things get much better.
Kartut sticking against Rogue? I laugh at that and sap it right back to your hand.
That is a fair counter argument. Here's the problem with these decks that rely on only expensive minions against Rogue.
Weird spot now for Orange, where Quartz Elemental is clearly like the best play on this turn, but it's also in a way very weak. It's his last non-Rogue card in hand, and so therefore I think we're probably actually going to see Underbelly Fence plus Hero Power, because that Vendetta could be very, very useful.
Orange playing Pirate Valera as well. I've heard that this is supposed to be the only skin that you don't change. I think it was someone in Board Control's chat a few days ago saying that.
Oh, what? It's contentious.
Yes.
I like it.
I like it too, personally.
I think it's fun. I know that Jay Alexander, I can almost hear him unfollow me on Twitter as I say that.
I personally quite like all of the new skins.
Yeah, me too. I don't have all of the new skins.
Do you know?
No. I have like 3,000 Rogue wins, 3,000 Druid wins, and then nothing on anything else. It's difficult to play Hearthstone when all you do with your life is watch Hearthstone.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I do like this play a lot from Orange. I think it gets a similar amount of attack on board, but even pushes the one from the dagger, so it's really not that different at all, and leaves him still the super strong play, as we can see here, of Sap coming down here.
Yep. Yep, looking like it's definitely going to happen. Obviously, next turn, che0nsu will then be able to replay it, but at that point, Orange might be able to develop enough pressure where che0nsu's just just dead anyway.
I guess he's actually not looking at the sap on this turn.
No.
Or I imagine he would have gone Shark plus sap, felt pretty strong. Wow.
That is a great cloning device there.
Okay, no, he's still going for it, just doesn't want to play the Shark. Fair enough. Because he could have considered just going for the Vendetta there and attacking into it twice. But I guess his thinking is he gets so much damage in here that if his opponent wants to play it again, then he can just kill it off on the following turn and delay the resurrection of the Psycho Pomp for a turn.
No, there's no way this is lethal, right?
No, I don't
No,
think
the healing is definitely puts che0nsu into safety.
The more I'm looking at it, the more I wonder if it was supposed to be a Vendetta and a swing with the weapon last turn. Because sap will like always be good, and if you sap it this turn, you're always going to be attacking into it in the next turn or two. So maybe you should have just done that as the first thing instead.
And then just sap it when the Psycho Pump brings it back?
Yeah, or when the convincing infiltrator, yeah. Terrible card names. Convincing infiltrator comes down.
You are like the best with card names, Darren. Don't give me that.
I'm best with obscure card names. The ones that actually see play, I always forget.
Seance.
Defensive tools all starting to run a little bit light here for che0nsu.
The thing is, if che0nsu survives this turn, could potentially Seance the Psycho Pump and get yet another card to defender next turn.
Yeah.
Ooh, Waggle Pig.
che0nsu has some, Orange has some very, very strong plays in his own right. Are we looking at any chance for Rag lethal here?
Definitely looks possible.
Trade. Goes up to 19. No, not quite on this turn.
No.
So, in that case, given that this is the turn before Plague of Death, Ragnaros has to be a very, very valid consideration on this turn to just try and get 2 ticks off of it.
Yep.
And therefore, I think it's actually probably just correct to throw it down on this turn. Trade away all your bad minions, clear the board, get Rag in play.
I guess the counter-argument is using it immediately after a Plague of Death means that your opponent's board is completely undefended.
Yeah, that is a fair point.
So it is a potential counter-attack. No, I'm going to go for it now.
Yeah, I think using it here gets you very possibly 2 activations, which is a 100% win state. Like, you don't lose if you get 2 hits to face.
Oh, other Psycho Pomp picked up. That seems important. Nothing else was going to really defend che0nsu this turn.
Yeah, it's a pretty necessary draw. It was either that or like his own Rag to try and snipe away his opponent, and even that wouldn't have actually got that.
Even going to stay onto the Psycho Pomp now to guarantee that he can get another one down after the Plague of Death.
I like it.
Is this good enough, though? So, che0nsu heals back up to 13. I don't think it's lethal.
Yeah, I'm not actually quite seeing it.
With Evil Cable Route, though. 2 lackeys, 2 effects from those lackeys. Nope, that's not the ones that
Those are the 2 bad ones. And this is where things get a little bit messy. So what Orange really needs to do here is set up lethal through Plague of Death. He needs to get his opponent down to 4 or less health so that Wagglepick can win the game and therefore lock out Plague of Death as an option.
I think there's a chance for a lethal here, actually. So the Wagglepick and the 1-1 deal with that. Health goes up to 13. The 2-3 attack minions. che0nsu.
Oh, so he can just take a 50-50.
He can take the 50-50.
Right. Yes. But not a guaranteed 100%.
Don't believe, there isn't a guaranteed one here. If there was the Rush Lackey or the Goblin Lackey.
Sure.
Sorry, the Goblin Lackey or the Cobalt Lackey, then yes, that would have done it. But alas.
All I really want to see here is just set up 100% to lock out Plague of Death. I want to see the trade here rather than the 50-50. I'm allergic to rag flips, it seems.
Okay, and yeah, Orange, as you correctly predicted, does go with making the trade, locking out the Plague of Death. Cloning Gallery it is.
What are we looking at now then? Ooh!
Okay.
Sylvanas, Infiltrators, a Rag?
Is this enough?
Maybe.
che0nsu has no health. I'm pretty sure Orange can just trade and Wagglepick the face. Yeah, that's it. Okay, well, Orange does take the second win of this series.
I was standing up again then.
2-0 lead.
I was too excited then.
Derek's up and down, yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, there you go. One more win required for Orange. And Orange, again, he needs this tournament win, right? He wants to get in the best position as he can here. He wants to keep his Grandmaster status. Of course he does. And that would be one heck of a story.
It would. And Orange has had a pretty good year outside of Grandmasters. Obviously, the thing is, his run through Season 2 of Grandmasters wasn't even that bad. He was tied with, what, 3 other people or 2 other people down at the bottom of the division, which meant it was only tiebreakers that he was losing on right at the end. It was not that bad of a score at all. And he, of course, came second in the event that you were casting, Battle Rift. Yep. Yeah, where it was a very, very respectable performance. Out of anyone who could qualify, he managed to finish up second, which is very impressive. And now boasting potentially a 6-0 record if he's able to take this next win. It could honestly just be a pretty good year for Orange, despite being relegated out of Grandmasters. Absolutely.
We'll have to wait and see. The Europe region is the, I think, most difficult to qualify into.
Yeah.
There are a lot of amazing players. I mean, worldwide, yes, but in Europe specifically, I mean, you're talking Falcane, who already won a Masters Tour event, and then many other players that already have a high prize pool amount, whereas in some of the other regions, like the Americas region, the highest prize pool amount is something like $7,000. So
it's not much.
One player doing well in this event is like almost guaranteed for them. Language Hacker, for example, looking like he's in a great spot, but Orange, he's going to need to work a little bit harder if he wants to guarantee his Grandmaster spot back.
And if anyone can do it, it's Orange, one of the absolute hardest workers that we have in Hearthstone. But on the other side for che0nsu, you know, we're mainly focusing on Orange.
I'll let you focus on che0nsu.
Yeah, he's been no slouch at all in Grandmasters. He's been bringing, I think it's fair to say, pretty standard decks for the most part, but he's always felt like he's just been one or 2 weeks ahead of the competition. He's always just been ahead of the curve and figuring out what the best decks are just before everyone else.
Well, yesterday in a very similar position, we did see Tom 60229 make a massive comeback and reverse sweep his opponent. We'll have to see if che0nsu can do the same thing in just a few moments. Orange is currently leading this series with a 2-0 score up against che0nsu. He only has his Highlander Secret Paladin left to win with. But as I mentioned before the break, yesterday we saw a similar situation with Tom6229 being behind with an 0-2 score.
Yep.
And he did manage to make the reverse sweep and the comeback. So who knows, Derek? I know that you, again, being an APAC caster at the moment, you're a big fan.
I am, but it's difficult to know where my allegiance lies. Maybe, here's a thought, I'll be unbiased in my casting. Imagine that, and I'll just root for whoever plays better and ends up winning.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know, I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But I do have very high hopes for both of these players. I think they are two very, very strong Hearthstone players indeed, who put an awful lot of work into their lineup. But it's no surprise that with all of that prep they put into it, they end up with pretty similar lineups, all things considered.
Similar lineups. Both with a 5-0 score as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Doing well. It seems pretty clear that this style of lineup is probably the way to go. There's always a couple of outliers. We saw Hypno with a very different strategy. The Highlander Rogue also a 6-0 record now. But given that one of these players has to go up to 6-0 now, and they both have a very similar strategy, I feel like they're pretty much on the money.
All right, che0nsu back on the Priest by the looks of things, which we didn't quite see him manage to survive against the Rogue with. But we'll see how he does against the Secret Paladin. No secrets in Orange's opening hand just yet, which does make the Son of a Spy a little bit awkward. But, you know, Snip Snap into a Annoy module into Ziliax, it's now looking like a pretty strong curve.
It's like, it's bad because you have to play a 2-3 instead of a 3-4, but you haven't drawn any secrets, so you're like, brilliant, no bad cards in my hand.
Of course, this deck, as well as the Mysterious Challenger, does run Bellringer Sentry, so there's plenty of ways to rip those secrets out of the deck.
And it's going to be a tough couple of turns now for che0nsu, because this Shadow Word Pain is not very good, to be perfectly honest. It leaves the same amount of attack on board, but if he doesn't do it, he'd be left with an Annoy module, magnetizing on up to 4 attack, immune to the Shadow Word Pain. But if he does use it, then he doesn't have it anymore. So even though this is only at 3 attack now, it still can't be dealt with.
Yep, my bunch is still going to magnetize on. It becomes a 3-5, and that is problematic for che0nsu. He's not going to want to be playing... Oh, he is going to go ahead and play Varga. Okay, saving it for those resurrection abilities, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it's a couple of things here. It's obviously, like you said, get it in the pool for Mass Resurrect, so when you play it, it procs again afterwards. And also just that if he can get himself in a situation where he can go coin Light Bomb on the next turn, or even just a Mass Hysteria afterwards, it might be enough to pull him into a win. Assuming it survives, of course, which is not necessarily true.
Yeah, I mean, Orange, unfortunately for che0nsu, has all of the tools available to deal with this Vargoth. He's got Ziliax, which he can magnetize on to get rid of it. He's got Blessing of Kings, which he could play alongside Never Surrender, just to make life a little bit more awkward for che0nsu, having to then play around a secret as well. Yeah, Orange is in a good spot here, just weighing up his options at the moment.
It's really tough here, actually. I think given that there are other options that do a similar thing to Zephyrus, you just save it because it could be insane. So the consideration is only really here, I think, Ziliax or Blessing of Kings.
Yeah.
What you then put the buff on becomes even more difficult. Whether or not you kill the Vargoth is apparently the last consideration. And Orange just says, you know what? Take it. I don't even care. I think this
Cartu Defender's playable now. I mean, Mass Hysteria could be played, I guess. If the Vargoth survives, it gets played a second time at the end of the turn. He's going to go for it.
Coin Light Bomb would mean that it would cast again at the end of the turn, half the time.
And the problem is, all it does is the first Light Bomb just gets with the Divine Shields. That's not really relevant. The second Light Bomb only deals with the rightmost minion. Going to go for it, though. Okay. I mean, I'm looking at the Cartu Defender here, personally. Yes, the coin doesn't do anything when cast a second time, but it's defensive. Light Bomb doesn't do much here.
Right. Well, if he hit it, he could, of course, trade the Vargoth into the leftmost Microbot, which would give him a full clear on that turn with the second Light Bomb proccing.
Right,
but
it
only
would just
half
survive,
the time.
wouldn't it? Yeah, that's true. And you don't even find out if it hits it until at the end of the turn.
That's the thing. Yeah. So you're just left potentially tanking a lot of damage there. So this is probably the way to go for che0nsu, but I'm wondering if that was just Mass Hysteria.
All right, it's Zephyrus time.
Probably looking at a Hex that it will offer on this turn, given there's a Death Rattle, a Reborn. Although I think I've proven time and time again that I'm the worst Zephyrus predictor in the world.
Just sitting here
I
quietly,
always get it wrong.
Waiting,
Yeah.
ready to wait and see. Although Orange is probably going to know exactly what Zephyrus would offer him at the moment.
Could you manipulate it into giving you Shadow Madness if you trade in with the 3/4
Whoa.
and then try and steal it and trade in? Because that would be insane. But honestly, I've never seen Zephyrus give Shadow Madness.
No, I don't think I have either. He's actually going to play it last, so the thing is first.
Go for the
card
silence. Yeah, I think so. Does get it.
That's it, wow.
Orange is one of the players, on the other hand, who I think is one of the best Zephyrus predictors that we have in the game. He has played with this card a lot.
che0nsu down to 8 health now. That's that is a very scary position to be in. This priest not quite being able to survive. Is Light Bomb good enough here? I don't think it is.
Can't play the Penance on the same turn. Well, it's a 100% chance to cast the Light Bomb now, though, so he can go trade there, yes, and then just
Light Bomb,
play
Light Bomb.
Light
Yeah,
Bomb.
that's true.
Yeah, and
That's
it'll
true.
proc twice, and
It
he
does
will
clear the board, but che0nsu still only on 8 health. Ragnaros not playable just yet. 7
Not
mana
quite.
for Orange next turn. Siamat will be very powerful, though, immediately after this Light Bomb.
Problem is, though, it's just a few turns away from turn 9, which is where the powerhouse cards really start kicking off.
Mass Resurrection there in the hand. Vargoth obviously will be dead, along with 2 Kartu defenders.
It's worked out very nicely. So it has to be Siamat on this turn. The only real consideration is if you go Rush, or if you just go Stealth plus Wind Fury. Divine Shield plus Wind Fury.
Oh, yeah, that's actually really tough. There's me looking at this thinking Orange is surely going to kill the Vargoth now, but you're right, with Divine Shield, how does che0nsu actually deal with this?
And the thing is, there's not that much that can go wrong with Vargoth, honestly. It's only when you hit turn 9 that it hits the really broken stuff. Because if he goes for Penance, there's obviously a 50% chance that it just hits the Vargoth itself.
Oh, he goes the Rush. Okay.
Okay.
The end begins.
Okay. There was a small chance that got the Vargoth, which may have been problematic.
Would have been the absolute nightmare. Takes the heal to get out of range of Ragnaros as well.
So there isn't a way around this, right?
Trade in, Consecration, Sandwasp plus double 1/1. He's still just that little bit off. It's really annoying from setting up Ragnaros lethal on the following turn. But it's a good Consecration, and it's not the best Ragnaros, I think, that you can try and get. But then you have to consider on the other side, maybe they're playing Katrina Muerte, maybe they're playing Ragnaros of their own. Does that make it better to save Ragnaros? Better to play it proactively? It's a really tough spot here.
Let me think.
Oh, it's such a hard turn. Orange has played this game so well as well, just smacking that face every possible opportunity. He just needs to get over the finish line, because that's what shows a truly great aggro player, is the difference between getting the opponent low and getting over the finish line. Orange decides Consecration is the way to go here, plays the Sandwasps, and yeah, che0nsu now with only 8 mana doesn't have many options this turn. It's Mass Hysteria or nothing, and Mass Hysteria only deals with 2 of these minions.
Yes, that's true. I was wondering if he should ever have gone for Sandwasp 1 drop in that Never Surrender, because that plays around the Mass Hysteria, but this also does it. It just means you have 1 less attack on board, which is a fine trade-off.
All right, but now, like you said before, it's turn 9. che0nsu gets that power turn, and we're going to see some Kahoot defenders here.
Ooh, could almost just go for the Sylvanas plus own Shadow Word Death, a classic play to try and steal the Ragnaros, but I think we can agree this is probably a slightly higher chance. But
No
it does
Vargoth.
mean that there is just a 1 in 4 for Orange to take the game right now. And if there's anyone who can hit these Ragnaros shots, it is Orange.
Of course, if the Mass Res hit Vargoth, it would have been less likely, because it would have gone off a second time. There'd be 6 minions on the board. It hits a Kartu, though, and now this game is going to begin to turn around a little bit. Shadow Word Death available. Seance as well, he can play that. He can either save that for N'Zoth or play that on the Psychopomp now.
Was che0nsu just supposed to play Plague of Death on that turn instead of Rezzing? He did just give a 1 in 4 chance for lethal, and I feel like his odds might have just been quite a bit better than that.
Yeah, there's not even a Leroy in the deck.
There's no Leroy. There's no real outs for lethal now that Zephyrus has been played. Yeah.
So that's a really interesting point. Although now,
I mean,
it does seem
this
to have
is
worked
over.
out.
This is just over now.
It really was looking like che0nsu was going to take this game at some point, but Orange doesn't quite manage to get there with the mana just not quite working out. That CM turn seeming so good, but because he couldn't quite connect to the face then, that Ragnaros being one turn too late for the 50-50 for lethal there, it didn't work out for Orange, but he's still got 2 more chances.
Yes, he does, and that definitely felt like one of the hardest decks for him to take down in the Control Resurrect Priest because of all the early game taunts that it's got and the removal coming down. The Paladin has to get up to a ridiculously aggressive start, and honestly, the Paladin isn't so much an aggro deck as it is a strong mid-range deck. I think we can agree. It can obviously cheese out a game or two with Secret Keeper early on and just running away with a nice big buffed minion, but generally it's the likes of Mysterious Challenger that's going to be getting you over the finish line.
Now, looking at the remaining decks for che0nsu, obviously we've seen him struggle with the Quest Shaman a little bit against the Priest earlier, but che0nsu's other deck is the Highlander Secret Paladin. It's a mirror. I don't know how similar it is. I haven't gone through these decks carefully, but it is looking almost exact. Apparently we're actually going to skip game 4.
We just got word that they played out the Paladin mirror. Again, these
was quick.
Just kind of parting the curtains a little bit here. These are matches that were played only about an hour ago, but in order to fill the time while all the other players finish the games, we are showing you the matches as they happened about an hour ago. So unfortunately, we're unable to get game 4. I think trying to get things moving a little bit so we can get on with the tournament. But we are going on to game 5 to find out who will be winning here. Could che0nsu get the reverse sweep that his fellow APAC player Tom was able to get the other day?
Yeah, well, here we go. It's going to be Orange with the Secret Highlander Paladin, which he has been struggling with up against the Quest Shaman for the final game of the series.
And you're definitely a little bit scared if you're Orange and you see that hand for che0nsu with Mogu and Evil Totem, a couple of very strong cards. But you're also a little bit afraid if you're che0nsu and you see Orange's hand. This is also very, very strong.
Sir Finley immediately, Mysterious Challenger, ready to go on turn 6 or even turn 5 with the coin.
Yep.
This is a strong start indeed. Going to coin out Finley straight away.
Coin Finley, of course, plays around Evil Totem because you can kill it off right away. It does give you a strong hero power right at the start of the game.
Some good options here as well. Goes to dagger.
Interesting. Strong hero power is not really what you want to be doing, though. And I was almost wondering if it was supposed to be Coin Sandwasp Queen on that turn. Because it does so well against Questing Adventurer, but I guess it does so badly against Novice Engineer and Rat that this is probably better.
Orange is free to develop a Sandwasp Queen now anyway. The 2-3 trades nicely into the Engineer.
Yeah, this is fine. I'm on board. This is probably better.
And honestly, che0nsu doesn't have all that much he can do just yet. Like you said, the Mogu Flesh Shaper is there, ready to go in a couple turns with the Mutate as well. Things are going to get out of hand for Orange then, but in the meantime, Orange has some nice control of this game.
It does feel like, for the most part, Orange is going to have to overcome the hurdle of an 8-drop off of Mogu plus Mutate, which he will have the answer to. Zephyrus being able to give, you know, if he's at 5 mana, he'll be able to answer pretty much anything because he can just go for Shadow Word Death to take it out. But there's quite a few 8-drops he'd be able to take out with just an Eviscerate or something like that as well.
Taking the opportunity here to equip that dagger. The good thing about this hero power, obviously, is that you get 2 turns worth, having only invested the mana once. But here we go. This is the power play from che0nsu. And actually only 4 mana available for Orange, and this is devastating for Orange.
It's pretty bad for him. He has the immediate answer available. Sorry, assuming that Zephyrus will give Shadow Word Pain here. I've been confused by that before, but I'm going to go ahead and guess it's going to offer it here.
If this didn't offer Shadow Word Pain, then there's something wrong. Zephyrus not in a good mood today.
Wow, doesn't he want to go for it? Orange is such a greedy Zephyrus player.
Wow. I guess Spatterhead doesn't kill Bellringer Sentry in one hit, and so
it's a 3-8. I would have slammed Zephyrus right at the start of the turn. Not even necessarily saying it's correct. Orange is a far superior Hearthstone player to me. But this is a play I am intrigued by, to say the least.
I guess on the plus side, he knows that Noble Sacrifice isn't an option here, but the Batterhead killing the Noble Sacrifice would allow it to attack a second time. As Orange has that secret in his hand, he knows that's not it. We don't know what it is, though. What are we thinking? Redemption, I guess?
No,
or
we have no idea.
Never Surrender? It's one of those.
None of them. Oh, no, sorry. Auto Defense Matrix is the only one we can rule out now.
Yeah.
But che0nsu in his own right has a very powerful couple of plays here. Just going for an evolve into a 9-drop is the potential punish for Orange's line of play. Redemption on Bellringer Sentry, very, very powerful.
It is powerful, but it's kind of weakening the Mysterious Challenger. There's the Auto Defense Matrix. Well, now it's going to have to be Shadow Word Death from the Zeph.
This was definitely a reason for che0nsu to go for the Kobold Lackey as the first move of the turn, as opposed to the attack with the... Yeah, sorry, as I said, as opposed to the attack with the Bathead, because I think that would have allowed him to clear off this entire board instead of leaving a 3-1 in play, which is honestly quite a big difference, because after the trade, and then at this point, I am expecting Zephyrus plus Shadow Word Death.
We've heard this before.
Yeah, the Shadow Word Death or a Deadly Shot, either one to clear off the Alex Straza.
Yep. If only Big Game Hunter still cost 3.
The annoying thing is, though, for Orange, that because of how many secrets his Bellringer Sentry is proccing, his Mysterious Challenger has got a lot worse. It would have pulled out like 3 secrets by the end. Which is, it's still kind of good. You've got high tempo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I say, it makes the Mysterious Challenger weaker, but I guess that doesn't matter if you're doing the same thing but sooner. Hang on a second.
Converting stored energy. Your wish is my suggestion.
So he would rather tank 8 damage and get a 1-3 in play. Wow.
Oh, it sets up the Snip Snap. He can buff the 1-3 twice with Snip Snap next turn and start going face, I guess. That's the only way I can sort of justify that.
That was a cool play.
Yeah? We both sat there gawping at the screen like, why did he
I've never seen that before. Ooh. And the Mortuary Machine for che0nsu means that Orange maybe deviates here, because that Reborn he can get on all of his minions could be devastating for che0nsu.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, this is the new 5-mana powerhouse card that gives your opponent a powerful effect. In this case, your opponent's minions get reborn when they are played. So.
I think it's probably the worst 5-mana 8/8 we've had.
Yeah.
There have been some pretty good ones along the way. Importantly, very importantly, it's whenever your opponent plays a minion, not when they summon one.
Yes.
So like the token off Noble Sacrifice, the 1/1s off Snip Snap, none of those get reborn.
However, playing 2 Snip Snaps this turn was definitely a viable option, because the Snip Snaps themselves would have been reborn.
That's true.
That would have been a lot of death rattles going off.
Yeah, just playing them non-magnetized. Maybe that was better.
Apart from che0nsu evolving it again, there's no way for him to get rid of this machine here. So I guess Orange is thinking maybe he can continue next turn and get more reborn minions.
It's looking real close for both of these players, though. che0nsu has a reasonably powerful turn here. He can just load up with the lackeys, and then, of course, follow up with Shudderwock in the next couple of turns. Slight graphical bug there.
I was just wondering which lackey it is. I was staring at it like, what lackey is this? We haven't even seen it yet. Okay.
That's what che0nsu wanted, of course. I would imagine, so that he can just trade off the most amount of attack. Or maybe not. Maybe he should have traded first and then upgraded.
And then evolved, yeah.
That's interesting.
Ooh. I prefer the taunt.
None of your business.
All right, well, Orange can now start going face.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I wonder if it's the Pharaoh's Blessing on this turn, or would you just take the Snip Snap while you have a mech in play?
He did just take a lot of damage earlier in order to get this mech in play.
Whatever you do, I think, has to protect this 6-1 from a 1-1, which could be double Snip Snap, trade into the 3-4, and then Noble Sacrifice does do that same thing.
Okay.
It protects on board, at least, against the 1-1. Or, of course, it's Pharaoh's Blessing, all face. Well, you could trade the 6-1 into the 4-3, I suppose, but I think Orange here has the liberty to be a little bit more aggressive in how he plays this out.
His next few turns are looking really good regardless of what happens, right? Like, he's got Tyrion next turn. He does go with the Pharaoh's Blessing.
Fine with this.
That is a 10-5 going straight to the dome. And che0nsu now is once again in a bit of a pickle. But Sludge Slurper, one of the best cards he could have drawn right now. 2 lackeys, both of which will get their abilities twice. Kobold Lackey is great. Ethereal Lackey. This could pick up a Hex.
Zap just for the cheapest option here available. Forked Lightning. It's just not quite enough. It can keep him alive on board because it kills off the 1-1, which means Snip Snap can't be magnetized.
Well, he can kill off both with the Zap and the Fork Lightning together and the trade with the 3-4. But Noble Sacrifices.
That's the thing, yeah. I'm talking from Orange's perspective.
Sorry, of course, yeah. che0nsu doesn't know there's a Noble Sacrifice. Wait, sorry, Kobold
never surrender
Kobold
anyway.
Lackey deals with it as well. Kobold Lackey does 4 damage. Fork Lightning. Without the Never Surrender, it would have been dealt with. But with the Never Surrender and the Noble Sacrifice together, so now che0nsu, as sort of a last-ditch effort, is going to have to evolve the board after trying to make the trade and hope that anything with Charge or Rush comes out.
Because as it currently stands, we can see Snip Snap just ends the game. So Evolve is his last vestige of hope.
Doesn't have much time here. No!
Just makes the read that there's no Snip Snap, and we can see that does mean that Orange, the player who needs this win or wants this win, I feel like more than anyone else, does end up taking the win. 6-0 now. You couldn't write this stuff out.
That was quite the explosive ending, but yep, 6-0 for our currently former Grandmaster Orange, potential future Grandmaster as well in
just took a little sabbatical
tournament. Yeah, just a break for a couple weeks or something. Yeah, fantastic series though. I mean, we did almost see the reverse sweep from che0nsu, but Orange did manage to put a stop to that just in time. Did struggle a little bit with that Highlander Secret Power, got there in the end.
Yeah, his few turns there in the middle were weird as anything with that Highlander Secret Paladin, but that's often the way it feels like when you see Orange play. He's the player who most of all doesn't necessarily have the best innate Hearthstone skills, but because of the amount that he practices, he preps and learns all the matchups, he figures out the weird lines that you look for, and I'm sure one of them was save Zephyrus in this matchup. Wait for something bigger that you need to be able to kill off.
Well, there you go. Notable players still in. Orange sitting at 6-0, and Language Hacker, who I think is some of our favorites for one of the new Americas Grandmasters, sitting at a nice 5-1 score. But unfortunately, Torf, our current America's leader when it comes to prize money, has been eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah, Magaho was also very high up on the European standings after a pretty good run in Masters Tour. So I think he got through to the top 4 before being knocked out of that tournament. But it does mean he is very, very unlikely. He's not going to be a Grandmaster now in the next season, given how high the amount of points the other European players have gone.
Well, that is round 6 just about wrapped up, and I can see in the corner of my eye Raven and the walking stats man himself, Lorinda, have just entered the room. So we are going to go to a very short break to switch over, but don't go anywhere. Round 7 coming up.